Coming up on Midco Motorsports, the longest-running modified series in the upper Midwest makes a record-setting stop in Mandan. Find out who took the crown for the 26th annual Dakota Classic MOD Tour. After a 15-year hiatus, 410 sprint cars finally found their way back to Park Jefferson. We've got the highlights from the latest stop for the National Sprint League. All that plus a look inside the Rumble in Rock Valley, home to one of the largest outlaw truck and tractor pulls in the country. The green flag drops now. And how is everybody doing? I'm Jay Elsen, and this is Midco Motorsports. The Dakota Classic MOD Tour is the longest-running modified series in the upper Midwest, but its schedule makes it one of the most challenging circuits in the entire country. This year's 6-day, 6-race trek, which featured both the IMCA modifieds and stock cars, began July 5th in Minot. And after successive stops in Estevan, Saskatchewan, Williston, and Dickinson, the 26th annual tour made its way to Mandan. It would be a record-setting night at Dacotah Speedway with an all-time tour best 98 modifieds. They set another record with 37 stock cars, 24 of which qualified for the feature. With 18 laps to go, Williston's Joe Flory had moved from 4th to 1st, but here comes Elijah Zevenbergen in the 66Z. The Iowan, who was leading the points coming in, surges to the front after starting 7th. And Zevenbergen looked pretty comfortable up there. He keeps control all the way to the checkered flag, becoming the tour's first repeat winner.
I was started on the bottom, so I stayed down there, and everybody was hitting the ruts and pushing up, so I just went in a little slower and a little more conservative and fired out of the bottom and passed them that way.
Now Zevenbergen would follow up Thursday's win with a second-place finish at Jamestown Speedway on Friday. That was enough to clinch his second championship in the division by 20 points over Dalton Flory. Joe Flory was third, with Cody Nelson and Andrew Altenberg completing the top 5. Back to the modifieds. 11 laps into the 30-lap feature, we've got a battle of 99s. The B of Jet Big Eagle trying to hold off the G of Jason Grimes, but he can't do it. The Jamestown native grabs the lead on the front straightaway. Big Eagle would continue to fall off the pace from there. 6 laps later, both the 12H of Mike Hansen and the 02 of Lucas Schott get by him on the backstretch. Big Eagle would end up finishing 4th. Meanwhile, Hansen goes to work on Grimes. Those two would end up fighting for first for 3 full circuits before Hansen gets hung up in lap traffic with 4 to go, and that was all Grimes would need. He holds off the field and becomes the tour's 5th winner in 5 races.
Gosh, old Hansen sure made it tough. It was actually pretty fun regardless of the result. Obviously better when I'm out on top.
Rain washed out the feature at Jamestown Speedway on Friday, and that gave the title to Chandler, Arizona's Ricky Thornton Jr. He bested 2013 champ Aaron Turnbull by 8 points. Defending champ Jeff Taylor finished 3rd. Big night in Grand Forks Friday as the World of Outlaws late models and the Wissota Modifieds joined the Outlaw Sprints at the Bull Ring. The mods were up first, and early on it was the 5G car of Scott Greer building a good-sized lead on the field. Behind him, a couple of North Dakota guys were battling for second. Grand Forks' Dustin Strand in the 71 and the 98 of Enderlin's John Nord, and it's Strand grabbing control of the silver spot. From there, he sets his sights on Greer, the 5G able to hold off the 71 through 3 restarts, but a 4th was too much to ask. Strand finally gains the lead down low and goes on to get the win on his hometown track.
The 5 car was pretty dang good, and I was just kind of hanging out behind him, and he hooked one of them holes wrong, and I was able to capitalize on it.
Another local guy would own the pole for the night's Outlaw Sprint feature. Corey Mack would jump out to a big lead right from the green flag. It took him just 5 laps to get into lap traffic. That's when another Mack came into the picture. That's Corey's brother Casey in the red number 8, and it looked like we might have a brother battle. But hold on, lap 19, Casey gets caught behind a back marker, and that opens the door for Austin Pierce. Pierce, the defending track champ and current points leader, was winless coming into this one, but not anymore. Pierce ends his season-long drought with an impressive performance.
This one feels great. It's our first one in Grand Forks here. We've been running strong here. We've got 3 seconds in a row here, so it feels good to come out with that number 1 tonight.
That is certainly not going to hurt his chances for a second consecutive track title. Pierce's lead over Greg Nikotenko is now stretched to 31 points. The big draw for the night, of course, was those World of Outlaws late models, and one guy that never misses a chance to get in some extra laps is this one right here. Donnie Schatz would start 5th for the feature. Skip ahead to lap 14. Pole setter Chubb Frank trying to hold off mod winner Dustin Strand in the 71, but the RCS points leader works his way around the Outlaw driver and into the lead. Strand stay out front would be short though. Just a few laps later, the 71 slips a little in turn 2. That allows the 39 of Tim McCready to overtake him. Strand would end up finishing 20th. McCready though kept his eyes on the prize. Schatz would make a small push late, but he couldn't catch him either. Schatz settles for 3rd, while McCready captures his first World of Outlaws win of the season.
I think I learned a little bit by following the 71 in a heat because I don't know what he's doing, but I probably have a good idea of what they do. You know, when you go traveling, you have a good idea, and I figured he was on some stuff that was more conventional than some of the stuff we've been trying, so I kind of went back to standard type stuff, conventional stuff, so I could really dig into the cushion and not shove, and it helped.
Despite that victory, McCready is still just 4th in the points. He, along with everyone else, is chasing Shane Clanton. Clanton checked in 5th at River Cities, his 20th top 5 finish in 23 races. Well, it had been a long time since Park Jefferson played host to a 410 sprint car event, but the National Sprint League brought an end to that drought on Friday. We'll show you the highlights from that one next.
Midco Motorsports on Midco Sports Network is presented by Dacotah Speedway.
What a year it's been for Danny Lasowski. Not only is the dude back on top at Knoxville, but he's also emerged as the clear frontrunner for the inaugural National Sprint League crown. A big part of that success is Lasowski's renewed relationship with crew chief Guy Forbrook, with whom he won 5 Knoxville track championships between 1993 and 2008. Friday, the Big Game Tree Stands team looked to add yet another checkered flag to its collection during the NSL's first ever stop at Park Jefferson. After taking the win at Huset the week before, Lasowski looking to make it 2 straight and 5 for the season. We'll find out how he fared in a bit. As far as the support classes go, the best race of the night came in the Sport Mods division. A couple laps in, pole setter Rusty Montague getting all he can handle from Todd Boulware in the 14. Montague holds him off once, but he can't do it twice. Boulware shoots inside to take the lead. Sneaking up behind him was Caleb Kennedy in the 5X. He passes Montague here to move into the 2nd spot and then starts to reel in Boulware. He'd catch him right here. Kennedy can't quite finish the job the first time, but persistence pays off. He completes the pass with 3 laps left and gets back to victory lane for the 3rd time this season.
First off, I was just being real patient and waiting for my opportunities, and I finally got an opportunity, and he slid up a little bit, and I was a little higher, and I momentum around coming out of the corner.
Kennedy and Boulware each have 3 wins this season, but Boulware has been a little more consistent overall. He's got a 12-point lead on Carl Brewer, who finished 6th on Friday. Kennedy is 3rd, 15 points off the pace. On to the big show, the 25-lap, 3,000 to win National Sprint League main event, the first 410 feature at Park Jefferson since 2000. A couple of the region's best starting up front for this one. Dusty Zomer on the pole after winning the dash. Alongside him was Mark Dobmeyer. Those two would battle early before Zomer took control on lap 2. The 82 looked like the car to beat. Check out the move he pulls off here in lap traffic. Splits a pair of slower cars. Zoom Zoom certainly living up to his nickname. Meanwhile, Dobmeyer locked in a battle with Lasowski for 2nd. It looked like the dude might win that fight, but it gets too low in turn 2, and that allows the 13 to move back into the silver spot. Those two still going at it a couple of laps later, and they get a little too close This time, Lasowski gets into Dobmeyer. That sends him spinning down the front chute. Now the 2-car never did stop, so while the caution did come out, Lasowski got to hold on to the 3 spot, and that's where he would finish. That yellow was great news for Dobmeyer because it brought Zomer back to the pack, and on the ensuing restart, Dynamite makes his move. Dobmeyer rides the bottom, past Zomer for the lead, and from that point forward, it was all 13. Dobmeyer survives one more late restart and holds on for his first NSL victory.
NSL win was definitely one of the number one things on our list that we wanted to achieve this year, and we were able to do that tonight. And I think that that'll definitely boost our confidence and get us ahead of steam.
Dobmeyer's the 5th driver to win a National Sprint League race this season, but he's got a long way to go to catch Lasowski in the standings. 4 wins and 7 top 5 finishes have helped the dude build a huge lead over Tim Cady. Dobmeyer currently stands 8th. Let's head across the border to Rock Rapids, Iowa. Rapid Speedway kicking off its weekly show with a sportsman special. Sioux Falls native Nick Brady's been on a roll of late, and the 61N would stay hot on Friday. Lap 2, Brady, who'd already moved from 5th to 2nd, completes his run to the front as he dives inside to get by Bryant Clausen. And that was pretty much the end of this one. Brady pulls away from the pack and cruises to a 4th straight win.
We're over the halfway mark, so now we're just kind of improve little by little. Kind of, like I said, we've hit our stride, so as long as we keep improving each week, keep going to the front, we'll be all right.
There'd be a little more drama in the hobby stock feature. Alex Weirdsma doing everything he can to hold on to the lead early, and the 13X just does manage to shut the door on Tom Croc a couple laps in. Weirdsma would not be able to do the same to Dustin Gulbranson. Off the restart, the 6-car completes a high side pass to take over the top spot. Fast forward to the white flag lap now. Gulbranson still out front, but Chad Lodeman is making him work for it. The 17L stays side by side with the 6 through the final 2 turns, but can't finish it off. Gulbranson holds on to get the win, his first at Rocky since May 8th.
Chad, he's a super great guy to race against, and I don't know, enjoy racing against a lot of these guys out here. It's been fun all year.
Gulbranson hasn't exactly been piling up the wins in Rock Rapids this season, but he has been consistent. Friday's victory doubled as his 7th top 5 finish of the season. That's helped stake him to a 35-point lead in the standings. The nightcap featured the USRA stock cars, and there'd be a little controversy with this one. After staying out front for the first 6 circuits, Chad Overgaard loses his grip on the lead on a restart. Brad Clausen actually jumps 2 places as they come out of turn 2. But this one was far from over. The 45K would get all it could handle from the 22E of Eric Gall. Gall sticks right with Clausen over the last few laps, even gets side by side with him for a bit, but he never does manage to make the pass. Clausen holds him off for what appeared to be his 2nd win of the year, but the 45K would fail the post-race inspection. Clausen disqualified for an illegal drag link on the steering, and that made Gall's effort worthwhile. The Rushmore, Minnesota native has raced at Rapid Speedway for almost 10 years, but this was his first ever feature victory at the track. Probably not exactly how he dreamed it up, but it counts. As for the season, Gull sits 3rd overall, 28 points behind the leader Scott Overgaard. Rich Gregoire is holding down the 2nd spot. There was a very noticeable rumble in Rock Valley, Iowa last weekend. We'll take you inside one of the biggest truck and tractor pulls in the country when Midco Motorsports rolls on.
Midco Motorsports on Midco Sports Network is presented by Dacotah Speedway.
And welcome back. Well, if you thought you felt the earth shake last weekend in Northwest Iowa, you're probably not as crazy as you thought. That's because some of the biggest and baddest trucks and tractors on the planet were back in Rock Valley for the 12th annual Thunder in the Valley Outlaw Truck and Tractor Pull. Midco Motorsports producer Chad Hunt brings us the sights and sounds from one of that sport's premier events.
12 years ago, we started our first Outlaw tractor pull with 3 classes. Probably a purse of about $13,000. That year we had 500 people in the stands, and it's grown every year since. Now we're this year our 12th annual, and we're up to 10,000 fans in the stands, a purse of $120,000. So it's just unbelievable, the community support that we've had to be able to make the improvements that we've done brings the people to town.
Small town, putting on a huge pull, TV exposure, like pulls in a lot of pullers from all over other states. It's just a fun place, a good atmosphere to be in.
It's just a social gathering, so the more people the better, and you always see your friends, and the atmosphere is awesome, and they always put on a good show no matter what.
It's a combination of everything. They will bend over backwards for you here, and I just thank them for having our class. It's the best track we'll pull on all year, and they're just very friendly and do anything to help you.
We come to this pull in Rock Valley because it's got one of the best tracks around for as far as bite and pulling ability. It really tests your horsepower on your tractors. It tests what you know for knowledge of setting your machine up. It's really fun to pull on.
The Outlaw Truck and Tractor Pulling Association here at Thunder by the Valley, we sanction 14 different classes, and we've brought all 14 classes into this event. From the light limited modifieds, which is a great entry level, right on up to the big unlimited. So they're all here. You got tractors and smoke. You got tractors burning methanol alcohol. You got 4-wheel drives, 2-wheel drives, modifieds.
We've got different weights where some of the tractors weigh 6,000, some weigh 9,000. So that they set the sled accordingly so that the tractors can go so far down the track. But yeah, it is all about traction. You'll see the tractor get its front end probably about 6 to 12 inches off the ground, and they'll hook up and go. That's the best thing that you can actually do when you're on the tractor.
When you get down ready to pull, get in the seat and strapped in, it's kind of a feeling of calm comes over you because you've been nervous looking at the track and trying to figure out how it was all going to go. You get your wits about you, and then you just get ready for that big adrenaline rush when you're going down the track.
Just getting down the track. It's quite a rush, but once you get hooked to the sled, you kind of forget and you just do your thing.
Now, this year's Thunder in the Valley event featured more than 170 pullers or hooks from all over the country. That broke last year's event record by at least 40. Rosaboom says something this big could never be pulled off without the help of the community. He says this year alone, they had a volunteer workforce of between 250 and 300 people. Moving on, the B-Mods days may be numbered at Huset Speedway. We'll explain right after this.
Midco Motorsports on Midco Sports Network is presented by Dacotah Speedway.
The future of the B-Modifieds class at Huset Speedway is very much up in the air. Citing low car counts and questionable driving styles, track officials have been contemplating the future of the division for the remainder of the 2015 season and beyond. Sunday, those B-Mods got a chance to prove they belong in Brandon. They'd have to wait their turn, though. Doug Clark and the gang had other matters to tend to first, namely the hobby stock feature. And this was a good one. Lap 1, the 44 car of Chad Coonert trying to chase down Jason Bradley in the 17J, but Coonert's run gets cut short. Corey Kelderman gets in his way. That sends the 44 into the wall. Coonert would end up finishing 8th. After the restart, Jim Bartman accomplishes what Coonert could not. He blows past Bradley for the lead as they enter turn 3. Bartman would get some tough luck of his own later on. A last lap caution forced a green-white checkered finish, and with half a lap to go, Kelderman makes contact with the 4 car. Both drivers lose control, and we'd have to do it again. That opened the door for Logan Fitzpatrick. The L82 led the field back to green, and he would keep that lead the rest of the way. Fitzpatrick sees checkers for the second time in 2015.
They say that it's not always the guy with the fastest car that wins, and that's exactly what happened with us tonight. You know, we struggled, we missed the setup really bad, and we were just there, and they had some mishap, and we were able to assume the lead and from there it was kind of smooth sailing. Just had to hit my marks, and we were good to go.
That makes 2 wins and 3 top 5 finishes for Fitzpatrick in his last 4 races at Huset's. That's helped narrow the gap between him and points leader Dustin Gull-Branson. Fitzpatrick is running 3rd overall, now just 1 point behind Coonard for 2nd. That brought us to the B-Mods. 12 cars checked in, 11 started the feature, and none of them was better than Madison's Nick Barger. The 14N took control right off the start, and he would be the front runner from start to finish. 12 caution-free laps for his 2nd win of the season. Barger finished 2 spots ahead of points leader Coulter Deutsch, helping him inch a little bit closer on the B-Mods leaderboard. He's now into a tie for 2nd place with Ryan Walker. Walker was Sunday's runner-up. The street stock seemed to put on a good show just about every week, and this one was no exception. 7-time track champion and current points leader Gary Brown Jr. started 6th, but he'd be challenging for the lead within a few laps. The 22 trying to reel in pole setter Brandon Ferguson. The 15 manages to hold on for a while, but the 3rd try was the charm for Brown. He finally makes the pass on lap 9 and goes on for his 2nd straight street stocks win. That gives Brown 3 victories on the year, and his cushion is now a little bit more comfortable in the standings. Junior up 19 points on defending track champ Darren Cordles. Meanwhile, Zach Oliver still enjoying a strong first year in this division. He's 3rd overall. Let's go to the 25-lap main event for the 410 Outlaw Sprints. Pick it up on lap 9. Tim Kading right on the heels of race leader Dylan Peterson, with a caution flag flies for the 51A of Andy Anderson. Now that might have slowed Kading's momentum, but not for long. On the ensuing restart, the 3 cars sprints past the 25 to take over the lead. Kading rolls into victory lane for the 2nd time in 2015.
We've been one of the probably faster cars at the end of the night, but we just got to get our front of the early in the night better more than anything. You know, our qualifying's kind of ruined us every night, but you know, we've got a fast race car once the night gets to that point. So hopefully we learned a lot tonight and we're able to take that into next week.
Now, even with the win, Kading managed to lose a little ground in the standings. He's now 6 points behind Zomer, who finished 2nd. Ryan Bickett, Austin McCarl, and Jody Rosenboom make up the rest of the top 5. Let's head north to Wissota country now. Race fans looking to beat the heat at Casino Speedway in Watertown. We start with the Midwest Modifieds in a lap 5 restart. Race leader Tracy Johnson manages to keep the 19 car at the head of the pack. Johnson would lead most of the way, but he gets some company with 2 to go. Scott Hansen looking to polish off a great run, and he uses the cushion to do just that. Hansen drives the 31H around Johnson for the lead. He came all the way from 9th to get the win. It's his first of the year in Watertown.
I went up to the top, and that's more or less how we won it. We found a little traction up there in 1 and 2 and made it work.
The late models rolled out next. We'll start on lap 2. Chad Becker, who came in number 2 in the points, takes advantage of a Kurt Kranz mistake. He'd go on to build a big lead before a caution wiped it away with 3 to go, but it didn't matter. Becker withstands a late challenge from the 52X of points leader Dave McDonald, but hangs on for an exciting win. The night's featured event was the Wissota Street Stock Special. 22 cars for the start of the A main. Good battle for the lead early on. The 32 of Jordan Tollickson going head-to-head with the 58 of Wade Terrell. Neck and neck they come down the front stretch, and it's Tollickson that gains the edge. Skip ahead to lap 8. The 11 car enters the picture. Kyle Dykoff wants the lead, and he gets it heading into turn 3. That's where the drama came to an end. Dykoff rules the rest of the way, taking the checkered flag in his first appearance at Casino this season.
There's 22 cars. That's what really made it fun for me, being able to wrestle with all these guys down here and take away with a win.
We have reached the white flag. We'll wrap things up with a look at your weekend schedule next.
Midco Motorsports on Midco Sports Network is presented by Dacotah Speedway.
Here's a look at your Midco Motorsports calendar for the weekend ahead. Enjoy the races, everyone. We'll see you back here next week.